Hello and welcome to Alive TV. From our newsroom here in Abuja, I'm Khadija Ibrahim. These are our top stories. July flood alert. Several states at risk despite 620 billion naira intervention. 2027 firestorm as APC coalition battle for northern ADC leaders. Ladoja next in line as tributes flow for late Olubadan. We begin today with a critical environmental alert. Despite a federal intervention package worth 620 billion naira, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has issued a high-risk flood warning affecting no fewer than 20 Nigerian states this July. According to NEMA and meteorological experts, excessive rainfall, poor drainage, and rising river levels are likely to trigger flash floods in both urban and rural communities. Particularly vulnerable are states in the north-central, south-south, and southeast regions, with reports already surfacing of communities being displaced in parts of Kogi, Delta, and Anambra. The agency has urged residents in flood-prone areas to relocate where possible and advised local governments to activate emergency response plans. However, many Nigerians are questioning the effectiveness of the government's 620 billion naira flood intervention, as reports of uncompleted infrastructure projects and mismanaged resources continue to circulate. As Nigeria slowly inches toward the 2027 general elections, the political temperature is already rising. A brewing firestorm within major political blocs is unfolding, particularly between the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, and the opposition coalitions over the control and alignment of Northern ADC, African Democratic Congress leaders. Sources close to the development say the northern bloc of ADC is seen as a crucial voting demographic, especially in swing states like Kano, Kaduna, and Bauchi. Tensions have escalated as high-level defections and internal negotiations shake the landscape, with both APC and PDP strategists locked in high-stakes political chess game. Analysts say this could reshape not only regional power structures, but possibly determine the ethno-political narrative of the 2027 election. Already, northern youth groups and political observers are now demanding transparency in how alliances are formed and who represents the region. From politics to traditional leadership, we turn to Ibadan, where mourning continues following the death of the Olubadan of Ibadan land. In the wake of his passing, attention has shifted to the succession process, with many pointing to former Oyo State Governor Rashidi Ladoja as the most senior high chief in line to ascend the throne. Ladoja, a respected figure in both politics and traditional hierarchy, has neither confirmed nor denied interest. However, Ibadan's complex chieftaincy system, which rotates leadership through a rigidly ordered line of ascension, places him as a front-runner. Tributes have poured in from traditional councils, politicians, and cultural organizations, all celebrating the late monarch's wisdom, dignity, and role in preserving Yoruba heritage. Back to national development now. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has once again raised concerns over the impact of Nigeria's ongoing economic reforms, stating that the efforts have yet to yield tangible benefits for the average citizen. Although the federal government has taken major steps, including fuel subsidy removal, FX unification, and structural adjustments, the IMF says these policies have not translated into real change at the grassroots level. The cost of living remains high, with food inflation hitting record levels and unemployment among youth still in double digits. Many Nigerians are feeling the pressure as salary increments lag behind rising prices and small businesses struggle under the weight of inconsistent power supply and import costs. The IMF is now urging Nigerian authorities to expand social protection programs and ensure reforms are implemented with a human face, particularly for the most vulnerable. Now to a developing story in East Africa. Kenya is in turmoil as anti-government protests over rising taxes and government spending have turned deadly. According to human rights groups, at least 10 people have been confirmed dead and dozens more injured after clashes broke out between protesters and police in Nairobi and other cities. What started as youth-led demonstrations against controversial finance bill quickly spiraled into a nationwide movement, exposing deeper frustrations over unemployment, corruption, and political distrust. The Kenyan government has defended its economic plans, claiming they are necessary for national growth. But protesters argue that the burden is being unfairly placed on ordinary citizens. International observers have called for restraint on both sides and for an independent investigation into alleged police brutality. A major update for Nigerian students seeking to study in the United States. The U.S. Embassy has officially begun screening applicants' social media accounts as part of the student visa application process. This move, while in line with broader global security practices, has raised privacy and fairness concerns, especially among young Nigerians who fear that even old or joking posts could lead to rejection. While embassy officials state that this is meant to strengthen background checks and national security, legal experts and student groups are urging applicants to clean up their digital footprints and ensure their public online presence reflects their true intentions. This development adds a new layer of complexity to an already competitive and expensive visa process. Now let's take a look at the global stage where international tensions, diplomacy, and defense are all shaping headlines in powerful ways. In Eastern Europe, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is intensifying efforts to build what he's calling a coalition of the willing, a bloc of NATO and allied countries committed to strengthening Ukraine's air defense systems. This comes amid a new wave of Russian missile and drone strikes targeting civilian infrastructure in Kharkiv, Odessa, and parts of the Donetsk region. Ukrainian officials say at least 37 civilians were killed in the past week, including children and medical staff, as hospitals and power facilities were hit. The Ukrainian government says it needs more long-range air defense systems, including the Patriot and NASAMS batteries, to counter the growing sophistication of Russian aerial assaults. Zelensky spoke over the weekend with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who has publicly endorsed the idea of a focused defense coalition. Britain has pledged an additional £500 million in military aid, and sources in Brussels suggest France, Germany, and Poland may also join the initiative, potentially accelerating Ukraine's NATO trajectory. Russia, on the other hand, warns that such alliances will only prolong the conflict and has accused Western governments of militarizing Eastern Europe under the banner of humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, global observers fear that a deeper NATO involvement could widen the scope of war beyond Ukraine's borders. An Israeli women-led legal group known as the Dinah Project has released a comprehensive report alleging that Hamas used sexual violence as part of a genocidal strategy during its attack on southern Israel on October 7, 2023. The assault left more than 1,200 Israelis dead and over 250 others taken hostage. The report draws on an extensive review of evidence, including first-hand testimony from a survivor of an attempted rape, accounts from 15 former hostages held in Gaza, and numerous witness reports of sexual assaults. According to the legal team, these acts were not isolated or random, but were instead carried out as a tactic of warfare designed to terrorize, humiliate, and destabilize Israeli society. Prominent figures such as former Judge Nava Beno, legal scholar Ruth Halperin Kadar, and former military prosecutor Sharon Zagagi Pinhas argue that the violence was systematic and met the legal threshold for crimes against humanity. They propose a legal blueprint for prosecution, even when identifying individual perpetrators may not be immediately possible. Thank you for watching. I'm Khadija Ibrahim. This is Alive TV.